Bonjour et bienvenue à Monaco. Yes, today's video we're going to run around the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. I ran to Monaco the other day, this time we're running the circuit. So my journey's going to start here, the Fairmont hairpin. I think I'm actually going to start the video on the front straight. So I'm going to run around there to the start line and we'll get the track tour there. I've done my initial run around the back half of the course, but I'm now here at the start finish line, which is just right behind me. You just over my shoulder is pole position. So my run's going to start here. Well, my lap of the course is going to start here. For the first time I'm actually going to do a track run and start the actual first corner and complete a proper lap of the course. It's going to be a bit fun because the bus coming. But yeah, just the first corner on the front straight, which is anything but straight. It completely curved. Behind me, as you can see, and coming along towards the start line, it's curving the whole way along. This is the only DRS section in the entire circuit as well, because it's just not practical to have one. So from here, I'm going to run down this narrow bit of pavement all the way to Saint-Devote, where the exit pit lane is. Well, the pit lane's actually just behind me. It's a temporary structure, so it's not there at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to run down there, go to where the exit pit lane is, where it goes through Saint-Devote, and start running up towards Beau Rivage. This is the bit that's a killer. It turns out the circuit's a lot hillier than it looks on TV. Right, next stop, Saint-Devote. One thing that probably doesn't come across on TV is just how many of the corners are actually on the uphill. So, like Saint-Devote here, you're actually climbing already towards that first corner. So behind me is Saint-Devote. And in fact, the church of Saint-Devote is just right here as well. Now this bit of the circuit again, that island is removed and the cars go up the far side of it and then up the hill behind me here. So yes, it's the kind of tight first turn in Monaco. Next up is the climb up there towards Beau Rivage. Then, forget the next corner, I'll get it. And finally the casino. This is the tough bit. Patient slope behind me. So here's Beau Rivage, sweeping corner through here on the way up. As you can see, it's still quite early in the morning, so traffic's not fully out yet. I'm gonna have to catch my breath at the top. Now here, when we get to the top of this hill here, it's actually a blind summit. When you crouch down to driver level, you can't see what's over there. And in fact, this next section here is one where I don't think TV does it justice of how fast it is, considering the actual corner, but also what the actual setup is like. So this is Masseny. Just going to dip back in here, and then behind me now is Masseny. Now, on race day obviously there's not all these cars parked here. Actually, it's just as narrow as this. The back behind me there, those shops only protected by a tiny wee barrier. Because I'm left-hander, cars are likely to come off where I'm standing here. So the cars are going to get thrown to the right. In front is the Casino de Monte Carlo. You can see it through the vans. But yeah, this is a sweeping left-hander into Casino Square, which on a Formula 1 weekend has lots of high-powered vehicles running through it. And on a normal day of the week, it also has a lot of high-powered vehicles driving through it. Here we have the fanciest of cars. But yes, this is a long sweeping left-hander. Now, I've been told along the curb here there's some damage from when Lewis hit it. I think you can just see the curb there behind me. Yeah, the curb is at the very edge of it, so the cars do run right up to it. If you run wide, you're going to hit that curb, which apparently is what Hamilton did this year. So there's some tyre marks all over it, which there's tyre marks all over the track as well. But yeah, there's some tyre marks there, and some bits and pieces of paint apparently for the Ferrari. I couldn't quite spot them, but I'll maybe try it again when it's sunnier. It's a bit more light. So you come through the corner there, by the Casino de Monte Carlo on your right hand side, and then right along here to the banked turn at the top of, well, the approach to Mirabeau. Yeah, it's Mirabeau, by the Bugatti Chiron. Beautiful car. And round this banked turn, which again isn't quite clear, round here, and then that takes you straight down towards Mirabeau. Bonjour. Down towards Mirabeau, and my favourite bit of Monaco, just the absolutely ridiculous bump right in front of me, just over there. Now the bump's because of a junction where you can see that car coming out of, and yeah, cars deliberately drive around it, which changes the approach down to Mirabeau at the bottom there. So I'm going to run down towards Mirabeau, and of course the Fairmont hairpin where I started my run technically, but we're around the midpoint sector. Now this is the end of sector 1, just down here ahead of it, and oh, I need to cross the road. There's a magic. So this is Mirabeau. Tight right-hander, which leads you down into the Fairmont hairpin. Again, excuse the van in front of me. That corner there sweeps you down. Now I think this is one of the runoff areas here. I'm sure a certain Canadian driver that's crashed at every single course I've been at so far has probably ended up down that escape road multiple times. And then you go round this here into the Fairmont hairpin. Now again, this is one where, if you follow the cars down it, actually makes quite interesting to show you just how much of a drop the hairpin is. There we go. So this is the slowest corner in Formula 1, just ahead of it, and it's because it's such a steep drop and it almost doubles back in itself. So if you look there, just how tight this corner is. Now, it's not quite obvious, but I will be on the camera up there. Yeah, I've set myself a wee camera just watching the hairpin, just because there's so many cool cars that drive around it. So I'll wave to myself, hello, and then follow around the hairpin here, and then down. You can see already just how much of a drop there is. Now we have to cross the road here to get to Poitiers. I should have said that's Mirabeau 2 at the bottom, lower Mirabeau. So yeah, that's the hairpin. Incredible section, but I think we're now going to approach what everybody knows Monaco for. But just before we do, you can see there's a wee bit of work on at the moment. So the approach to Poitiers is not quite exact. Now, yeah, I can't quite approach Poitiers properly because of the roadworks. So I'd have to take a diversion, or I could just sneak around it. So rather than film myself doing something, don't even bother. I'm just going to snap my fingers and appear at the exit of Poitiers behind me. There we are now. You watch the cars just going around it. That's because Poitiers leads you into what is, like I say, one of the famous bits of Monaco. It's the tunnel. Of course, yes, so the tunnel. Now it's actually a wee bit shorter than it comes across on TV, but it is a much tighter right hand turning. You really don't get that impression when you're watching it. So, as you can see, I'm going to leave Poitiers behind me and start heading towards the tunnel. Now, during the race and actually during the day, it's very notable how different it is from going right outside into this section. Going through yesterday, we always take our sunglasses off. There's that much of a difference between the outside light. Now apparently it's lit up above me. If you look at the tyre marks from the rubber getting flecked off tyres. But yeah, this is the tunnel. As I said, you can see in the clip there, it's a very tight right-hander, and it's blind the whole way around. So yeah, don't be caught in the inside lane. Don't be caught going slow in the inside lane rather. And that's the exit to the tunnel just up ahead there, and you can see how bright it is at exit. So imagine approaching that at 170, 180 kilometres an hour. Yeah, it's quite a jarring change. And here we have the exit of the tunnel. So past this lovely railing here on my left hand side is the approach down to the Nouvelle Chicane. Again, coming from the tunnel, it's actually quite a drop down all the way there. Now the Nouvelle Chicane actually is only temporary. Yeah, it's only putting to slow the cars. It's not actually there in real life. Real life cars go straight on through the exit road into instead Nouvelle's built on a temporary land. But we can see where the curbs are for it, or at least where they should be. Here we are. Now if you just look under the plant pot there and along, so that's the first of the sausage curbs on the entry to Nouvelle Chicane, and the second one is under this restaurant. So yeah, it's amazing how much Monaco has to move when you approach the Grand Prix, how many restaurants have to completely give up the space because they're on the track. So I'm now down all the super yachts next to us now. This is again that bit you see in the famous Monaco harbour. All the boats right next to us. The track joins us on this bit here. I don't think those tyre marks are from a Formula 1 car. But up ahead of us is the corner called Tabac. It's a very sharp, tight left-hander. You can overtake into it, or at least you could when the cars are a bit smaller. But it's a hard overtaking spot now. Now I've crossed the road just over the taxis, it's a bit easier. So the cars approach from where these taxis are coming, and you follow them right around here and along the front of the marina, right towards the swimming pool section, which is just up ahead. So that's where I'm going to go through next. I've changed to this side of the road because it's a wee bit easier to follow the track. So this is now the swimming pool chicane. The swimming pool is there just ahead of me. The cars come sweeping along there from Tabac where we just stood, all the way along here and then around this bend and then through the right hander at the other side. Oh, one thing that's coming across is actually how short the approach between corners is. I don't know if it's just TV makes things just look a bit longer, but there is no time to react between corners. Drivers must be just hitting the brake, accelerating, immediately on the brakes again for some of these turns. So yeah, I've got the swimming pool next to me here, you can hear the music. I'm not going to film the swimming pool, but actually it's empty in there. But yeah, now I always assumed the swimming pool was higher up, I didn't realise it was on the level of the track. But we come round the swimming pool here. Again, very, very short distance, it is the length of a swimming pool. And around. Now, I'm just going to cut in here because this is closer to the line Formula 1 cars take. Now if you look on the footage, you see the cars sweep over a wee bit closer to the right to this wall here. And that tightens up the approach to Larascas, which is named after the bar called Larascas on the corner. So you can see there, Larascas is on the right hand side and the track is sweeping round. So I think the cars actually come round from a wee bit over this side where I'm stood, over towards where those people are crossing the road, and there's a right turn just there. We actually visited that bar last night. It's lovely. I've crossed the road into a tiny wee bit of shade, but mainly because it's a lot easier to explain the approach here. So the cars are coming from behind me here, Rascas is there, and it's a very tight right hand turn all the way up to Antony Road. Now again, this is something I don't think I've ever realised I fully appreciate in TV. When you turn right at Rascas here, you're going uphill. It's actually a steeper slope than you think, purely because again I think if you can just see there was the wall, that's the height of the pit lane, so you've got to change, there's like that much of an elevation change from here in the back stretch all the way around Antony Knowles and up on the front straight. Well, curve. So cars come sweeping around here. And this is where you can enter the pit lane as well. So again, the pit lane is temporary, like I said at the beginning. The pit complex is built there. And the cars sweep, you keep to the right to go into the pit lane. Or alternatively, maybe cross this bit here, they go straight on into the final corner on the circuit, Anthony Nogues. And that's where I'm stood now. So I'm stood at Anthony Nogues, the statue to Manuel Fangio. And yeah, you can see that if you follow the cars going down it, you can see that this one is going the wrong way. You can see how the front straight actually works. Now I'm going to cross here over towards Fangio and then hug the right hand side of the pit straight just to try and complete the lap. This is the back end of the pit straight, and so you're coming up trying to complete your lap. Oh wait, you're completing it a lot faster than I did. I've taken my time. Yeah. You can see that straight behind me. And here we are, approaching pit straight, so you can start to see the grid boxes on the side. So these are the ones for the Formula 2 and Formula 3 cars, with the grid bigger. Then we're approaching box number 22, because of course we'll have 22 cars in the grid next year, and that'll probably be Lance Stroll starting, if he's still got a job. Or Cadillac. Had to be said. And then here, we've got in the last few boxes, up to 13. That's 11. And you can start to see just how much that front streak's curving. Because if you look behind me, you can see you can't see the end of it anymore. We continue through box 5, 4, 3. 2 is over there at the temporary curb. Pole position behind me. Thanks, boss. That's pole position, and that's the line there. And we've just completed a lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. It's really easy to run around and really good fun. I hope you've enjoyed that short track guide to Monaco. I managed to cover all the corners properly and do a wee bit of justice. But yeah, it's a really interesting track to run around. If you do find yourself in the area and you like running, honestly, you have to come and run around the track. It's so good. It's just so good, amazing how accessible it is. I'd probably say this is, well, Azerbaijan was pretty accessible. Singapore, you couldn't go in the front straight, but that's purely because they were constructing it for the Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time after we were there. Certainly, Monaco, everything is there, bar maybe the electric, you know, but you can see where it is. It is a properly great street circuit, probably the best street circuit in the world. And hopefully remains in the calendar for a long, long time, even if the cars can't overtake.